Peace. This is Atan Thomas, and you're listening to WPFW Washington, your station for jazz and justice.
This is
Make it plain.
Make it plain.
MIP.
With Masamela Matfumo.
Make it
Make it
plain.
plain.
Get woke.
Folks, we're live on the air once again on WPFW 89.3 FM in Washington, D.C. I'm Matsamela Mapfumo, the Reverend Mark Thompson. Good to be here with you as always, as we have rejoined WPFW on local radio in Washington, D.C. Got a couple of guests joining us today, and one of them hopefully will be joining us very, very shortly. But as you have already seen and heard, we are in the midst of our pledge drive at WPFW. This is the last week of it. WPFW, 48 years of centering Blackness, commemorating Black August, celebrating freedom fighters, political prisoners, and those who have perished in the struggle for Black liberation, scholars, musicians, poets, so many. And we have a Black August Liberation Digipack, which contains over 50 hours of content for you. And that content includes some really great audio from the WPFW archives. George Jackson, Soledad Brother, A-Trap Brown, Mumia Abu-Jamal, June Jordan, Odetta, Sun Ra, Audre Lorde, Amiri Baraka, John Coltrane, James Baldwin, Gwendolyn Brooks, many, many more, whose work reflects the struggle for and has been in service to Black liberation. It is culled from the Pacifica Radio archives. The gift is available at the $150 pledge amount and is downloadable only. So an email must be provided at the time of donation. To make your donation right here, right now, today, WPFW.FM.org. Text WPFW to 801-801. Please, ma'am. Please, sir. We invite you to do that as early as you can. All right. So we have joining us now. We're going to try to get him on. Let's see. Here we go. I think we're here. There we go. He's coming on in. There our brother is. Ladies and gentlemen, the host of the brand new podcast At Our Table and former chair of the DNC, our dear brother Jamie Harrison, joins us now. Jamie, how are you, man?
I'm great, Rev. How are you, brother?
It's a pleasure. I'm great, man, and it's a pleasure to see you. Thank you for joining me today. First of all, Jamie, let's get some immediate reaction. Trump's right as we speak having a press conference about taking over the DC police and deploying the National Guard. Dude, what it gets more insane every day.
Every single day. And, I woke up at 4 o'clock this morning and, sometimes you wake up because your mind's just moving and you can't sleep. And when I woke up, I picked up my phone and I just started thinking about all of these things, Rev, what he's doing in DC, what he's doing in terms of ICE, how he's decimating colleges and universities, basically trying to plant all of these ultra right-wing theories and ideologies into our colleges and universities, how he's decimating the media right now. We saw what he did to Colbert. We know he's going after other shows. And what he's doing on this redistricting as well, why is he so hell-bent on making sure that we can, he keeps control of the House? And, I know that people think, well, it's all conspiracy theories around Trump. But, Mark, this next Congress, this next House of Representatives is going to be in charge of the 2028 presidential election in terms of certifying that election. And if this guy gets control back, he's already flirted with this whole idea about, serving a third term. And this is all of this is part of some grand scheme that he has,
Right.
of just consolidating all of that power and bringing fascism and authoritarianism right into the United States.
And it's playing to a base that is really disturbed.
Yes.
I mean, what are people getting at? And it's interesting that same base wants the Epstein files. I mean, it's almost like some bipolar schizophrenia going on. They're mad at him for the Epstein files. So what is he trying to do? Distract them with this kind of takeover of the nation's capital?
It's all a distraction. It is all a distraction. He knows the dirt that he's doing. He understands the sore spots or the soft spots in terms of his armor. And what he tries to do is to figure out other things that he can, throw red meat at him there and watch him chase after that. Throw red meat at him over here and watch him chase after that. All the while to distract him from some of the things that is happening, that how he and his family are becoming even more rich off the American people. It's really interesting how you have not heard much from Trump Jr. and some of the other Trumps in this administration. That's because they're out doing all of these deals, making billions of dollars off of the hardworking American people.
That's not getting a lot of coverage.
Not at all,
Jamie.
Not at all. But they want to talk about Hunter Biden and his artwork, right? Man, if somebody wanted to buy Hunter's work, then they could. But these people are selling Trump cell phones. They're making Bitcoins and making, and then Trump goes and says, well, I'm going to do some stuff in the crypto space, right? All the while, he and his family, Melania even has some type of coin that is worthless, but made millions of dollars off of it, right? I'm telling you, it's this grand scheme that they consolidate power, but they get more personal wealth as a result of.
Yeah, that's insane. How's the At Our Table podcast? Speaking of Hunter Biden, he was on with you as a big guest, and what he shared was revelatory, Jamie.
Yeah, it was a really great conversation with Hunter, and it was the first that he's had since the election. And my goal for that, Mark, was for folks to really get to see Hunter for who he is, not who the Republicans want him to be or who his opponents want him to be. Because one of the things that I see in politics, the media and folks are very, very good at making caricatures out of people, mm-hmm. right? They build this frame that they want everybody to look at you in. And sometimes you just need to hear from people in their own words. And then you can make a decision whether you like them or not like them, whether you support them or not support them. And I think that's the fair thing to do, is to allow people to make the case for themselves. And what I wanted folks to understand with Hunter is this guy is bright, extremely bright. I mean, he went to Georgetown and Yale. He's accomplished so much professionally. I mean, he's been a lawyer, had his own firm. He represented a bunch of folks. He's been in a number of agencies, worked in various administrations. But like folks who have an addiction, all of that whole castle can fall down on you. And he acknowledges, though, that he was a big part of the problems that he has had. Mm-hmm. But he is trying to build out of that with the love of his family and the love of his friends. He's building out of that. And I thought that it was really important for folks to hear his story, but to hear from his mouth and not just from, Fox News and New York Post and all the other right-wing media outlets.
He was he your first guest? Or no,
he was the second guest. I had Tim Walz as the first guest. So we had Tim Walz, we had Hunter Biden, we had Wes Moore, and then Andy Beshear. So 3 governors and then Hunter Biden. And this on tomorrow, actually, we have an episode with a pediatrician who's running for the U.S. Senate against Lindsey Graham. So basically, she's trying to do what I did but hopefully she'll be much more successful.
The At Our Table podcast, folks, available wherever you get your podcasts. You're the immediate past chair of the party.
Yep.
How are we doing? What are we doing? What are we going to do?
Well, Ken Martin is in his first year. Ken's been the new chair of the DNC. Is a great friend of mine. One of the things that it hasn't gotten a whole lot of press is Ken is going to put an unprecedented amount of money into our 50 states or 57 state and territory parties. Almost akin to, when I was chair, I thought what we were doing was making a 50 state strategy and putting it on steroids. Well, he's taking this to a whole nother level. Mark, when I became state party chair in South Carolina, we were getting $2,500 a month from the DNC. That is all that we were getting from the DNC in South Carolina. South Carolina, by the end of this year, and other red states like her, will be receiving $22,500 a month from the DNC. That is a game changer. That means that they're going to be able to hire more additional staff on the ground to do outreach, to do organizing, and that's going to be significant as we go into this midterm election, which I believe that we could see a big blue wave akin to what we saw in 2006 when Howard Dean invested in all of the state parties. And so they're working really hard on that. He's been working really hard in terms of Texas and providing more support to those legislators in Texas who are standing up to Governor Abbott there. They've been working really hard on New Jersey and Virginia. We have won almost every special election thus far this year, or we have overperformed dramatically from what Democrats normally perform in those districts. So I think the bones are there for us to really make the gains. But we know that, by hook or by crook, Trump is trying everything within his power to keep Democrats from winning again, not only in this midterm election, but ever.
What are your thoughts about Kamala Harris, Jamie Harrison, former chair of the DNC, Jamie Harrison with us, folks? Your calls, 202-588-0893. Quickly, please. What are your thoughts about Kamala Harris not running for governor? What does that say to us?
Well, I think she said it perfectly, that she wants to do and she wants to get back out there, but she didn't think that role of governor was the best one for her at this point in time. And I think folks have to give her the grace. She's earned the right to decide what the hell she wants to do and when she wants to do it. I saw someone who poured everything that she had into those 100 and some odd days running for the presidency. Yes, we all wanted her to win, and many of us worked hard to help her win. But I can tell you, Rev, I've never seen somebody do as much as she did in such a short period of time to make that a race. You remember, again, she had 107 days. She literally had less than 2 weeks to pick a vice president, and then about a month to have a convention, which many people have said is gone down as one of the best conventions that the party's ever had. And then after that, a few weeks later, she got on the stage with Donald Trump, this man who has had more presidential debates than any other person in history. Kamala Harris got on that debate stage with him and dragged him around like a week-old bag of garbage, right? And then she went all over the country. She didn't even have the opportunity to build her own campaign team. She used the legacy campaign team from Joe Biden. And so she did all of that and came up with the third highest vote total in the history of this country for a presidential candidate, only behind Joe Biden, Donald Trump, and then Kamala Harris. And so, 3 states and she would have been president of the United States. And so, yes, we did not win. And Lord knows, I wish every day the result would have been different. But we need to make sure that we appreciate Kamala Harris for what she did and how she did it, and how she put her whole self into that effort.
Jamie Harris, are you comfortable with the outcome, or do you have any reason to think there was some funny business that went down.
I'm not happy with the outcome, and I think some of it was, and I'm being honest. I'm writing a book right now. Some of it is a little self-inflicted. We did some things that were not always smart, and I'm saying the global we for our side of the aisle. I think one of the things that I want to make sure that we don't fall into a rut on as we move into 2028 is that we need to bring more people to the table.
Mm-hmm.
More diverse voices. We say we are the most diverse party, and we are, and we have our coalition is diverse. Well, sometimes that table needs to be a little more diverse as well, in terms of decision makers and folks who get to make decisions about how the strategy and how we go into communities. Even though I was chair of the party, I didn't always have a seat at that table. And I know.
We can explain that now. What does that mean? Why not? What do you mean you have a seat at the table?
Mark, I tell you this. So when the campaign had all of its senior discussions, right? It's senior discussions on strategy. Where does money go? How are we deploying assets? I was not a part of those meetings.
Is that unprecedented?
I think so.
Okay.
I think it was a little group who was making those decisions. It was a small group making those decisions, and I was not a part of that group.
Who was in the group, Jamie? Can you say?
Well, led by General Mally Dillon, who was a campaign manager, and you had David Plouffe and all of those other folks. But in the end, it wasn't because I didn't ask to be a part of those discussions. I did, almost on every other week. I would like to be included in this discussion. I would like to be included. I mean, when I think about it, my friend, we had millions of dollars going to polling that the DNC was paying for, and I never got the chance to see the polls. Now, right? And so those are part of the reforms that I would love to see at the DNC, so that no other DNC chair or DNC has to go through what I went through in this last election cycle.
Unbelievable. Will Kamala run for president again, or do you think she should?
If she wants to, I think she's earned the right to do so. I'm not sure whether she wants to go through that again. But I think she has earned the right to do whatever she wants to do. If she wants to run again, I think she should go out and she should run, and I think she will have tremendous support. But we all know it's going to be a very contested election. There are going to be a lot of people who are going to jump in. In 2020, we saw almost 20 people in the Democratic primary initially. And I anticipate something very similar to that happening in 2028. But I think if the VP does decide to get in, she immediately becomes, probably the front runner. But there'll be a lot of people angling at her in that contest: governors, senators, members of Congress, and you probably even get some people, non-traditional candidates, who are not even elected officials, who may come from the media circles or in the entertainment world. I think it's going to be it'll be the wild, wild west. But one of the things that I am very, very focused on is making sure that Black voters get an opportunity to stay at the head of the table in terms of making a determination of who our next nominee is.
Right. Lastly, you've published a Substack, John Roberts' Supreme Court has entered its Dred Scott era. Tell us about that, Jamie.
Well, I've been thinking about this a lot, Rev. I'm a lawyer by training, and many of us have heard of the Dred Scott decision, which was probably one of the worst decisions ever by the court, which basically dehumanized Black folks in this country. made sure that we did not have the rights that we should have had early on. And that was under the Taney Court. Justice Taney was the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court during that period. And many folks often think that is one of the worst decisions ever made by the Supreme Court in the history of the Supreme Court. And basically what I am saying is that this court under John Roberts is rivaling that Taney Court. When you look at the systematic efforts, at that point, people could argue that Black folks didn't have the rights at that time, right? And that decision was solidifying that we would not have those rights. Well, Black voters and all voters now have rights. We're supposedly all equal, all created equal, right? All having the freedom and the liberty. Well, what this court is doing is chipping away at that. It is chipping away at those liberties and the freedoms that we fought so hard to gain over these last few decades. You look at the decisions to gut the Voting Rights Act and now what it is doing in terms of disenfranchising so many voters across the country. We look at the gutting of Chevron, which basically is taking the power of the regulatory power away from the agencies and giving it to unelected judges who don't understand, don't have the background to understand what's best in terms of the environment. I mean, when you look at what they are doing, Rev, they basically said that a president is almost a king, that they could commit illegal acts and yet not be prosecuted for it if they're doing it under the cloak of the presidency. So in essence, I believe that this court is rivaling that old Taney court in terms of the decisions that they're making. They gutted affirmative action in this country. I mean, and it's just chipping away, and they do it with a smile, and they do it, under all of the in such a way that people think it's just we're operating in normal times, but these are not normal times, not at all.
Yeah. Jamie Harrison, love you, brother. You always have a home here. One more time, tell everybody where they can find you.
Folks, you can go to jamieharrison.com or you can go to atourtablepodcast.com. But thank you, Rev, for all that you do, for always keeping up the fight, for keeping us real, and keeping your finger on the pulse of equality and social justice in this country.
And thank you for your tireless activism yourself. Folks, he ain't retired.
No.
He didn't retire. He's just not chair anymore, but he's out here in the streets and he's going to be making some noise. So we appreciate you. Love you, James. Talk again real soon, man. Okay.
Okay. Take care. Thank you again.
All right. Thank you. All right, folks, we're going to be joined now because this is our pledge season. And we're happy to have with us the program director of WPFW, Katia Stitt.
Good morning, Mark. It's great to see you, and thank you for sharing your guest with us this morning. And you're absolutely right. This is pledge season. This is our summer pledge drive, the second week. And you have a goal on Make It Plain of $500. And we're going to ask those listening now to go to the phones and support this esteemed journalist in the form of Reverend Mark Thompson and the good work he's done on Make It Plain, both here at WPFW and before, but also a new program who's bringing us, again, another perspective here on the landscape, the troubled landscape, Mark, if I may add, the troubled landscape that we are encountering. And always insightful interviews, always a timely guest. So if you appreciate what Mark is doing here at WPFW and that he is back at WPFW, back on DC airwaves where he began, then we ask you to go to the phones right now and pledge your support. 800-222-9739, or you can go online to WPFWFM.org. We have $500 to go, folks, and we can do that. We have 36 minutes, Mark, to make this goal. And I'm sure many will stand in solidarity with you this morning.
Well, and folks, we met our goal last Monday. So help me meet again. It's $500, folks. That's what we need. And WPFW is close to its goal for this fundraising season, but we're not quite there yet. All I need is $500. So please, ma'am, please, sir, 1-800-222-9739. 9739, WPFWFM.org, or text WPFW to 801-801. Texting still good too, right, Katia?
It is, and just to just a minor correction. It's you text WPFW FM to 801-801.
All right,
That's
cool.
it.
Thank you.
Yes.
WPFW. Thank you for that correction. WPFW FM. First of all, thank you for inviting me to be back at home on local airwaves in DC. I'm honored to be here. Thank you for thinking of me. The first show we had, you may have missed it, Katia, but there was a whole conversation about me not just being on airwaves back home, but me moving back to DC.
Yes, I heard that conversation.
And you and Miyuki buying me a house. I don't know what the regulations are on that.
Oh, that part. Oh, that part. That was an important part that I must have missed. You know, look, it would be nothing but a word. If we could, we would. Okay. So,
that's all right.
Yes, but we are glad you're back on the airwaves. And, Mark, I'm glad that you just made us all laugh, because we really need that in this moment, that levity. And WPFW and you yourself, I mean, again, I say it a lot about the people on our air, but it is true. Everyone we have on our air is an activist out in the streets. They're doing something to lift up humanity out in the streets. I have run into Mark so many times on so many issues, at so many rallies where he's speaking, he's helping, he's organizing, and he brings all of that to the air, all of that experience you all benefit from. So we ask you to support Make It Plain, 800-222-9739. We want to exceed the goal. We made the goal last week. We want to exceed it this week. 800-222-9739. WPFWFM.org. If we can lean on the African proverb again, many hands do indeed make light work. And that is what we're asking for right now. Many hands to support this brothers, to support this program.
Katia, tell us about this wonderful Digipack that is $150 pledge. $150 pledge gets you 50 hours of audio, right?
That's right. Over 50 hours of audio. And it's entitled the Black August Black Liberation Digipack. And it speaks to both Black August, but also to many of the voices that have, some still with us, that have always lifted up Black liberation and have been forces in us being propelled forward. So not only do you get the voices of George Jackson and the Soledad brother, Kathleen Cleaver is in there, Angela Davis is in there, H. Rap Brown is in there. You also get the voices of Mumia Abu-Jamal, of June Jordan, of Odetta, of Sun Ra, because, Mark, we have to say the music has certainly been in service to liberation as well. We cannot forget that. And I love that you always make that point on your on this program. We know that Mark is a low-key musicologist. We understand that fact. But John Coltrane and Alice Coltrane are there. Amiri Baraka is there. James Baldwin, Gwendolyn Brooke, and so many others. And again, it's yours for a pledge of $150. And again, if we have 6 people picking up that Digipack this morning, we will be golden. So the number to call to pick up that Digipack or to make your pledge, whether it's $5 or $5,000, 800-222-9739, or you can go online to WPFWFM.org.
All right, Katia, we thank you. We'll check back in with you shortly. Meanwhile, I'm going to continue to push folks. We want to exceed our goal of $500. WPFW needs your support. This is community-sponsored radio, y'all. That's what this is. And we need that now more than ever, as all media is contracting. The fourth estate is, as we know, under attack. This is what we have, and this is what we must support. We want to thank our program director, Katia Stitt. That won't be the last we'll hear of her today. But folks, please, ma'am, please, sir, make your pledge. I want to ask my friends out here, who has $100 to give WPFW, not just to Make It Plain, but to WPFW. Better yet, who has $150 so you can get this Digipack? 1-800-222-9739. 1-800-222-9739. Please give us a call. $150, and you get this Digipack, 50 hours of content culled from the WPFW archives. Text WPFW FM to 801-801. Make that play. $150 is all it is to get 50 hours of content in this Black August with some folks who helped make Black August history. 1-800-222-9739. WPFWFM.org to make your pledge. Please, man. Who has $150? Who has $100? I'm looking for $100 givers. I'm looking for 10 people who can give $50 to WPFW right now. We really need your support. 10 people, $50. How about that? 1-800-222-9739 to help keep WPFW the thriving source of information and music and justice in our community. That is so, so important. Please, man, $50. How many people can give $25 to WPFW in this hour? We have 30 minutes to go to meet our goal of 500. Please, man, please, sir, we need your support. And listen, a lot of us, WPFW has been a part of our lives for a long time, including I started listening to WPFW at 10 years old. I was listening to the Bama, Miyuki's father. I would come to DC in the summertime to visit my father. We didn't have internet yet, so you couldn't hear local radio stations online yet. And every Sunday morning, listen to the Bama. And the Bama helped make me the low-key musicologist, as Katia described me. And it's funny because I've done a lot of stuff, listened to a lot of stuff. And yeah, I have actually become a low-key musicologist because I listened to it. And as you also know, I was on a rival station is no more, became C-SPAN Radio, WDCU. There were 2 jazz stations. I mean, really, in a city like DC, Chocolate City, 2 jazz stations isn't enough. But we have one that we can support right now. We lost one, we've got this one. And they weren't rivals when they both were together. They were 2 jazz stations, and that's okay. We can have more than one thing. WPFW is the one thing we have now. Please, ma'am, please, sir, this is very, very important that you support WPFW right now. 1-800-222-9739. Please call right away and make your pledge. Please, ma'am, please, sir. We are going to be joined now. As you all know, the Democrats in the Texas legislature have skipped town to prevent a quorum. Here, joining us from the Texas State Legislature, and they're doing this because of redistricting, is our dear friend and brother, Representative Ron Reynolds. Representative Reynolds, how are you, my brother?
Hey, brother, I'm good, Mark. Thanks for having me, Rev. It's always a blessing to be on with you. I appreciate this opportunity to be on your platform to educate people about this racial gerrymander map that not only impacts Texas, but the nation. So I'm honored to be here and stand 10 toes down for democracy. So thank you for allowing me to be on as a guest today.
Well, first of all, let's start with the map itself. What has this Texas legislature actually done, Ron?
The Texas legislature has done a racial gerrymander to impact 5 districts in Texas because that's the magic number that President Trump told Governor Abbott that he needed. Governor Abbott bended at the knees and said, yes, we'll deliver. And that's what he did with the special session. He, instead of dealing with the victims of the flooding where we lost over 130 Texans, Governor Abbott put the call on a special session to include redistricting. And they delivered a map that decimated Black and brown districts. African Americans make up the largest population in Texas than any other state. We only have 4 African American seats. We should have more based on our population. This racial gerrymander reduced that number in half. And so instead of having 4 African American congressional districts, we would have 2, one in Houston, one in Dallas. They paired our dear brother, your friend, one of our heroes, my frat brother, Congressman Al Green, with the historic 18th congressional district in Houston that was once held by the late great Barbara Jordan, the first African-American congresswoman in the South since Reconstruction, that was only available because of the passage of the Voting Rights Act of 1965, and most recently held by Congressman Sylvester Turner up until his death, and prior to her death, Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee. They paired those two. They'll have to have one Black district because they moved Al Green out of his own district and moved him into the 18th congressional district. And then our dear sister, Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, we know she sets it on fire, always speaking truth to power, holding President Trump and the MAGA extremists accountable. They took her out of her congressional district in Dallas in the 30th and moved her into the 33rd to pair her with Congressman Mark Vesey, another African American. So they would only have one congressional winner in Dallas. So that is what they're doing. And that is why my colleagues and I decided to break quorum in an act of defiance and a spirit of good trouble to stop the legislature for having the number of members needed to be present so they couldn't conduct business and pass this racial gerrymander. So that's what we did, Mark. We left Texas, fled to Illinois and other states, and we're holding out. This is week 2 of the quorum break.
So there's this argument, Representative Ron Reynolds, folks, the Texas legislature. Can they come and find you and arrest you and force you back to pass legislation? Are you in danger of that?
Yeah, so they changed the rules. When I was with you before, when we broke quorum the first time, was back in 2021 when we went to DC because we broke quorum because we were trying to urge DC to pass the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act, which, by the way, if it wasn't for those 2 Democrat senators, and I'm gonna call their names, Senator Manchin and Sinema, we could have passed that federal legislation to stop this from happening because Texas would have been under pre-clearance. But no, that's another story. But they added penalties after that quorum break. So now we have $500 a day fines that were added to stop, to be a deterrent, right? So that's what we're incurring, $500 a day fines. In addition to we have warrants currently pending for our arrest, which Governor Abbott and the Attorney General Ken Paxton are trying to execute in Illinois and other states that members are at. So in addition to the $500 a day fines, we have arrest warrants. And then here's a new twist, Rev. They now want to weaponize the Department of Justice and the FBI, which is unheard of. Now we got the FBI under Kash Patel saying they should be involved to possibly arrest us, extradite us back to Texas so that we can then make quorum. So this is unprecedented. This is unreal. This is almost like a movie, except it's real life. I don't know if you know, we've experienced bomb threats when we got to Illinois. We had to evacuate our hotel because of bomb threats. So this has been a real nightmare, but we're undeterred and we will continue pressing forward. I just wanted you and your listeners to know what the challenges are that we're facing. In addition to the $500 a day fines, we're faced with jail time and possible FBI involvement.
So now, Ron, I don't want you to say where you are. I mean, you don't want them to know where you are, do you?
No.
I mean,
Oh, no. Well, I can't tell you that, brother.
don't say
Not at
that.
this time. Yes, sir.
But let me ask you this: wherever you are,
Yes.
the FBI or the Texas State Police or anybody have the right to come and get you wherever you are. Do they actually have the right to do that?
Well, we heard from Attorney General Holder, who said they don't have that right. But Attorney General Ken Paxton, the MAGA extremist himself, believes that they can. And Governor Abbott and Senator Cornyn and President Trump, they all believe that they can. So we know that the president doesn't follow the Constitution nor the laws. He believes that he's above the law. So we don't believe that they would try to uphold the Constitution, that we believe that they would do anything and everything. We've seen, I mean, look at what they've done other elected officials with these ICE raids. I mean, we don't put anything past them. So do I believe that they can based on the law? No. Do I believe that they would because they believe that they're above the law? Absolutely.
This is something else. Lastly, you mentioned how this is not just in Texas.
Right.
They're starting to do this nationwide.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Mark. So here's what we know. We know that the vice president, he went to Indiana because he wanted to entice them to do a redistricting, a mid-decade. I know you educate people. A mid-decade redistricting is unprecedented. They normally do a redistricting after the census every 10 years, every decade. So this is not normal, everyone. This is President Trump, knowing that his policies are unpopular, wanting to maintain power, even though he knows that he will lose seats in the midterm. So he's trying to stack the deck. So he's going to Indiana. He's going to other red states and said, just like he told the Secretary of State in Georgia, where he said, I need 11,000 something votes. He's going around saying, I need 3 seats out of Indiana. I need 5 in Texas. I need 2 in Ohio. I need that's what he's doing. In Missouri, brother Emmanuel Cleaver, his congressman, they're talking about redistricting him out of his seat in Missouri because they want to stack the deck. That is what we're looking at. I even heard they're really looking at South Carolina and possibly getting rid of Jim Clyburn. That is the kind of assault that we're having. So this ain't just about Texas. As Dr. King once stated, that injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. So this doesn't end here in Texas. This is possibly across the country.
Well, and yeah, it's a replay of reclamation after Reconstruction, where we had
That's correct.
we had the right to vote. Women didn't, but
That's
black
right.
people had the right to vote. We had thousands of African American elected officials throughout the South, even former enslaved people, right? And now they want to do the same thing. It's almost like we're reliving that nightmare. All over again.
That's correct. They want to take us back to Jim Crow. They want to take us back to pre-voting rights era days. That is the racist redistricting gerrymander map that we see in Texas. So we can't put anything past them. They're doing anything and everything to suppress black and brown minorities from voting. And we have to say, not on our watch, or we're going to allow them to take us back. I was there with you and Selma and others for the 60th anniversary of Bloody Sunday. They're trying to take us back. And that's why we all have to do our part to fight, to stand up against these authoritarian, wannabe king dictators that are racist, racial extremists that really literally are trying to do everything they can to create a system of only benefiting the billionaire class. They're trampling upon the rights of black and browns. They're doing everything they can to erase the gains that we've made with this nonsense called critical race theory. They don't want to teach about racism, this nonsense of anti-diversity, equity, and inclusion. They want to erase black and browns from positions of CEOs and other positions and titles because they think that we didn't earn it, because it wasn't merit based, because we're black. So yes, we have a duty to speak truth to power and stand up.
Right. Lastly, Ron, is there any place you want to tell our audience to go to find out more information, keep up with you? Any you all need? Want to share that?
Yes, I do. We have a website. I want people to go to the Texas Legislative Black Caucus, where we are definitely, we have the largest African American population in the country. Our Black Caucus is standing up on the front line, and I'll put it in the, I'll send it over to you so you can share it with your people, because we want people to understand that we're not in this alone. We're speaking out for the nation. So goes Texas, so goes the country.
Text it to me, Ron, okay?
I'll text it to you right now.
Brother,
All right.
I said you're on the run right now. Don't let them catch you, brother. Don't just
Thank you, man.
keep it
Appreciate
moving.
you for all. Listen, I want you to know I appreciate you for always standing in the gap, always being on the front line, man. No matter if it was 2021, every time it's about voter engagement. It's about getting information so we can empower and inform our listeners. You've been there with so many causes, and I want you to know we appreciate you from Texas, man. Thank you so much. God bless you, man, and God keep you. And I'll send that over to you right now.
Text me offline if you need me to meet you somewhere.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it, brother. Thank you. Thank you. Okay.
And I'm gonna bring some people with me too.
Thank you. I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Love you, man. Take care. Ron Reynolds with us, joining us on the move as he is being pursued like the Fugitive Slave Act out of Texas. More on that in a moment. But folks, we've got a pledge in. We want to get a few more in the moments remaining. Katia Stitt, the program director of WPFW, joins us again. Katia, welcome back. Is Katia with us? Okay, well, we'll wait for her to join. I need another $350. That means make it plain. We got an anonymous donation from someone who's a member for over 20 years. Thank you. And with that $150, they'll get the Digipack with 50 plus hours of content speaking to Black August, George Jackson, Soledad Brother, H-Rap Brown, Mumia Abu Jamal, June Jordan, Odetta, Sun Ra, Audre Lorde, Amir Baraka, John Coltrane, James Baldwin, Gwendolyn Brooks, and many more. Culled from the Pacifica Radio archives. Come on, y'all. We need you. WPFW needs you. 1-800-222-9739. Call and make your pledge. Please, ma'am. Please, sir. WPFWFM.org. Text WPFWFM to 801-801. $350 to go. And then we meet our goal here on Make It Plain on behalf of WPFW-FM. And so close to the fundraising goal WPFW is seeking. This is listener-sponsored radio. 35 people give $10. We're good. If 35 people give $10, we're good. In these remaining moments on the show. If 20 people give $17.50, if 10 people, here's even better, 10 people. How about 10 people sharing $35? Please, ma'am, please, sir. This will help sustain the work. Where else are you going to hear guests like we've heard? We heard the former chair of the DNC today. We heard Representative Ron Reynolds of the Texas State Legislature, who with his other colleagues in the Black Caucus has broken quorum. And for those of you who understand, when you break quorum, that prevents the legislature from going forward with a vote on redistrict. They're trying to redistrict out Black voting districts and Black electeds. That's just objective fact. I'm reporting that is what's going on in Texas right now. We're back in the days of post-Reconstruction. That's where we are. Katia, you back with us?
I am absolutely back with you. I'm sorry, I'm getting used to this StreamYard. Forgive me. I was so excited by the last guest. I was trying to get the video on and then it knocked me off completely. So next time I'll be ready for you. But, just an incredible interview. And this is what we are about. This is what resistance looks like. What Brother Ron is doing right now, what the members of the Texas legislature are doing right now. This is good trouble. And this is also, Mark, why today's interviews are so important. Our theme is, again, 48 years of centering Blackness. And we say that because we know there are forces working to erase the contributions and significance of Black people from sea to shining sea. This is happening. And they're saying not today. That is what the Texas legislature is saying, not today. And so you can be in that number of solidarity by calling right now. And pledging your support. We have $350 to go. We have 12 minutes to do it for Make It Plain. Let's make sure that Mark exceeds the goal this morning. 800-222-9739 or WPFWFM.org. Consider becoming a sustaining member. That is giving $10, $20, $50, $100 a month. And in that way, it makes it easy on your purse or your pocketbook or your wallet or your pocket, wherever you keep your dollars. But Mark gets the entire amount credited to his program this morning immediately. And we love that. So again, the number to call is 800-222-9739. And don't forget that Black August Black Liberation Digipack. That is something that you can donate to a school. Even in this moment, Mark, as we see books are being banned, DEI is gone, everything they can do to erase the contributions of Black people, the significance of Black people to everything in this culture, in this society. One way that you can combat that is by getting this digipack, donating it to a school so that the students themselves can hear the voices of the people that we name, the Soledad brothers, June Jordan, Amiri Baraka, so many more. They can hear their voices and understand really, truly, deeply what Blackness in America is about. And so the number to call and what Black liberation is about. The number to call is 800-222-9739, WPFWFM.org, $350 to go. We can do this, Mark, can't we?
We can. We certainly can, folks. And listen, if 10 of you just give $35, we will meet our goal. We'd love to exceed it. But I need 10 of you to give $35 to WPFW. You know, as I'm thinking about how some people think and how human nature is, Katia, WPFW has been around a long time. And some people, well, why does, we hear Katia all the time, we hear Mark. Why does WPFW need money? Talk to us about that, Katia, just so people can understand that, you know, this helps keep everything flowing.
Absolutely. Well, you know, first of all, we should say that this model of listener-sponsored radio came from Pacifica Radio, which we are a part of. It by 20 years, it predates NPR and their model. We are the original ones. Pacifica is the original one. So that's the first thing. It's in our bylaws to come to the people because Lou Hill believed that people would support a media entity that reflects their values. And Mark, I would dare say that in this time, this is exactly what we need. And unlike PBS and NPR and these other entities, we do not receive corporate nor governmental underwriting. And in a way, thank God that we don't, because we would be in the boat that they are right now. But we have the people, and we've always had the people. And it's with the people that all boats will rise. And this is why we say that you have to be in solidarity with a liberatory, emancipatory outlet like WPFW and a liberatory, emancipatory show like Make It Plain. This is not new to Mark. He's been doing this work for decades. I would say since we were young people. I remember, and we're still young people, but I remember when you began doing this work, you know, and so for decades, he's been steeped in the work, and he's bringing you the voices of the people doing the work, resisting for all of us. They are literally on the run. Think about it. I never thought I'd see a day when legislative members are on the run. They're on the lam. You know, there are bounty hunters after them to bring them back to Texas so that they can undo work that many of them and those who came before our ancestors worked on to ensure that we would have rights. I mean, it's dystopian, but that is why you need Make It Plain now more than ever. That is why you need a WPFW now more than ever. We are unembedded. We speak truth about power. We make it plain. We say it like it is. And that is the kind of media that you can rely on. And that is the media that we ask you to support. 800-222-9739, $350 to go. Mark, we have, well, you have 3 more minutes, but we still have 7 minutes for you to make this goal. So we can do it.
That's right. That's right. Well, I just want to correct Katia, dear sister.
Please.
Katia and I are Gen Z.
That's right.
You gotta be clear about that. So, you know, y'all should support young people. Support us young people.
Right.
That pledge in the next 7 minutes, 8 minutes remaining.
That's right.
To Make It Plain, MIP, to WPFW, 800-222-9739. 800-222-9739. Go to WPFWFM.org. Also, text WPFW-FM to 801-801. Please, ma'am, please, sir. That's what we need to do. That's what needs to happen in order to support this great station. Folks, we have got to understand we are in trouble. Corporation for Public Broadcasting has gone down. We don't know what's going to happen to all this stuff that we become so used to watching, right? And we've seen pledge drive. That's the nature of public radio, public television. There are pledge drives, and that takes it right back home. That is right in your living room. That is right in your car. That is real. You make WPFW what it is through your donation. You keep WPFW on the air. You guarantee that the type of information, music and information that you are seeking to share, that you are seeking to hear, as a matter of fact, is heard because of your donations. And we're not asking for $1 billion. We're not asking for $1 million. We're asking for just a small donation. And if enough, give it.
Right.
Please, man, I mean, don't look at me starting. The other stuff we pay for, it ain't good for us. But anyway, go ahead, continue.
I was just going to say, we want to thank Anonymous out of Woodbridge. So we're down to $200. Keep the calls coming. Even after Mark ends the program, you can still make a pledge for Make It Plain. Do that. $200. We will meet the goal today. 800-222-9739, WPFWFM.org. This is the way you show your solidarity. This is the way you are able to raise your voice.
Just $200 to go. And I got to get out of here. But folks, you've got another 6-7 minutes to give it. And I know other folks gave some money after the show. I don't know how long do people give money after the show? I don't
They
know.
can give money forever and ever. They just call and they say, we want to pledge to Make It Plain. They will pull up Make It Plain on the drop-down menu, and the rest is the same. So anytime.
Katia Stitt, our illustrious Gen Z program director at WPFW. Katia, thank you, folks.
Thanks.
Again, WPFWFM.org. Text WPFWFM to 801-801, 1-800-222-9739. All of those are ways to reach us. Thank you, Katia. We're gonna get on out of here and make way for the next show. But folks, we're thankful for you joining us today. And if all hearts and minds are clear, it has been made plain.
All right, Rev.